Hello, it is the Based Opinion here, and this is our first episode. So, I think the best episode to do my first one on is Last Epoch, and just an overview, my review on it, and my thoughts on the game. Now, I have about 100 hours within Last Epoch, and I was also playing before launch, and I've played during launch and after, till up to today, which is the 1st of March. Overall, I think the gameplay is great. I I played Path of Exile, I played Diablo 3, I played Diablo 4. As of Diablo 3, I played that mainly on Xbox. It was one of those games that was really close to my childhood, so to speak. And that's similar to Borderlands 2. It's the game that I just want to constantly get on, just continue pushing to get new gear, acquiring new gear, and just sort of doing that. I think games that really bring that out in you are the best games. The games that you just can't wait to get back home, hop on, play, or grind out some levels or gear. I think that's amazing. It feels good, especially when the game is actually good. Now, although it's similar to Diablo 3, it's definitely better than Diablo 4. Diablo 4 has an issue, I feel personally. It's not fun. Yeah, it's okay for the first bit, but after the first few seasons, it just sucked playing. I mean, especially you couldn't really play sorcerer. I mean, there's people that do it, but resistances were just not working for one season. Just the negligence of the developers in Diablo 4, or well, I shouldn't say developers, the quality assurance people not checking if a big part of the game is not working, I think is just crazy from that scale of a company. Although this game is bigger than both those and more complex, I wouldn't put it close to Path of Exile. Path of Exile is another ARPG. I do have some hours into it. I haven't played it all the way to the end. I'm not really too big on it. I do enjoy it, and I think there's some fun to have in there, but it gets a little tiring after a while, and I kind of want to just go to something else that's a little bit more enjoyable. But I do think it's also a good game. I just feel like Last Epoch is just the happy middle child of those games. The one that is just really nice to get into and just relax and chill and play whatever you want. Now, I am playing on the new season. I am a level 81 rogue marksman, and I'm doing a Hail of Arrows build. And, I'm trying to work my way up to get traps from the Falconers mastery. And I've also chosen the Merchants Guild. Now, I haven't really been too familiar with, because I know Diablo 3 had an auction house. I also know that it was removed for various issues, but I definitely think that Last Epoch has a really good take on it, and it definitely provides a lot of expansive playability within the game. Although, it takes a while to get to, I haven't unlocked it, or I haven't even gone to unlock it for a while until I was at level 60 something, I think. It took a bit. But I definitely think it's really good. It's really nice to be able to just put up items and buy items that you want for your build. It's really nice. The other side of that, the other guild, the fortune people, that side seems really fun too. And I was really debating on if I wanted either or, but I feel like the merchants guild was just better because if I want something, I can just grind for it and then buy it off the store. It's super cut clean, easy to do, and I don't have to really worry about oh, am I gonna get this percentage drop? No, I don't have to worry about that. So it's really nice. Now, it did have some issues with its launch. Now, the main issues were the servers weren't really working too well, and that wasn't really a server issue. I believe it was more of like a coding issue, I think. That was what it was mentioned as. And it was just their code wasn't ready to handle the just excess of people. Because before I think they were only getting like 50k people ish playing at a time, and that just tripled or quadrupled, I think, for Last Epoch. Which, I mean, is very understandable. And it's like they're not prepared for it because they can't like have two versions of like their code to handle that. It doesn't make sense. It's kind of like a waste of time, and you can't really be prepared for it. Now, I mean, this is sort of similar with Helldivers. Their issue was also a coding issue. Handling the excess amount of people. They had the servers, it was just primarily the amount of people trying to access the service, and it just wasn't built for that. Now, I will say the servers are a lot better. Like, I haven't had any issues, although I do play relatively early in the morning to sort of late at night. I'm not really hitting that big wave of traffic like just around like 5 p.m. Eastern, when everyone gets off work. I don't have those issues at all. I also haven't played multiplayer, so I can't really give any insight on multiplayer. And I haven't really seen a whole lot of multiplayer gameplay either, and any issues pertaining to that. And, I'm mainly on the US East, connection of the game, so there might be issues in other places around the world that I just am not accustomed to or know about. But I do think it is a really good game besides those launch issues, which it really sucks seeing that it gets a mixed review because a lot of those like negative reviews are just over the launch, and they think they can like sort of what's the word, strong arm the developers into doing something because they're negatively reviewing their game. I think that's just stupid for one. I mean, in some cases, I think it's, yeah, you should. Like Diablo 4, I think that would have been fine. Especially like Overwatch 2. Like definitely, they definitely dropped the ball in that game really hard, and they do deserve their really bad rating on Steam. I think they really do. Do I think it's really worth your money to get this game, Last Epoch? I would say out of all the games, this is probably your best value for purchase game. That and same with Helldivers. We've seen like really good games like Baldur's Gate come out. That was what, 60, 70, I think it was $60. Yeah, it was $60. Baldur's Gate 3 was amazing. Top tier game, and it definitely showed because a lot of other developers were salty because they were getting shit on because of it. But I definitely think that for the amount you're putting into this game, which was like what, 30 to $35, same with like Helldivers, it's just such a good deal. It's stupid not to get it. I think it's really good if you're like an ARPG player or if you really like the loot and shooter sort of genre. It's really good. I mean, it might be a little off-putting if, you're not really into the sort of like top-down angled view that, a lot of Diablo games have. I can definitely say that's somewhat of an issue for some people. I know when I was playing Baldur's Gate 3, I wasn't really used to it, and it was kind of like, eh. I didn't really like it, but I found ways to just make it a little bit more enjoyable to move around the camera. So I definitely think that Last Epoch is worth your money to get. I think it's definitely a good game to get. Overall, I would give it a 9 out of 10. Ultimately, I mean, it's just such a good game. It has good gameplay. It just feels so satisfying to play. Like just being able to sort of create your own build is something that I really enjoy that like sort of Diablo 3 had. Diablo 3 had that sort of mechanic primarily with like legendaries and like set items. I think just giving us more autonomy over what builds we make is just super enjoyable. Like I was recently I was just making a build for a bone curse and like death aura build for the I think it's the lich mastery for the acolyte. You just press the two buttons and you just walk around. It is so satisfying to have something like that. Like for instance, I had a build I made on Diablo 3 with the plague lo- locust. I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think it was the plague locust or the locust plague, one of the however it's said, with the witch doctor and just walking around and just attacking my enemies and just spreading and killing like, you know, 16, 25 other enemies next to it. It's something that's super enjoyable to get into, and I definitely think it's worth your money. As to if you want to play with friends or online, I mean that's really up to you. If you think it's good, I would really highly suggest you look at other people that have been playing online with this game and sort of see what they think and sort of do your research on that part if that's going to be your main selling point. But if you're mainly going to play solo for the most part, you don't even need to play online. You can play offline if you want to. And honestly, I think if you're going to play offline, you won't go to the Merchants Guild. There's no reason to go to the Merchants Guild when you're playing by yourself. So, ultimately, I think if you're playing by yourself, the game's regardless is going to be good. The only like caveat with like an offline character is you can't transfer it to online and vice versa back and forth. Just because the offline character is just local and it's not server side. So you can edit those files, so you can cheat and whatnot. So that's why they don't want to allow offline characters to be pushed online. But there might be I do think there might be some sort of way to sort of get like a happy medium with that. Like there might be something where they can like tag an offline character with like some sort of like I don't know, like a hash number or whatever, and sort of get like the time was played on the character, just like other like information they can probably pull, and then maybe do like a manual review of the character or something that's sort of akin to that to sort of maybe have that work. Although that's a lot of work and I don't think it's really necessary at all. Just make an online character and make an offline character. That way, regardless, you can play a character whenever you want. So overall, I think that's pretty much it for like my thoughts and my review over Last Epoch. Honestly, it's such a good game for the price. It's just a no-brainer to get. You know, it's definitely like one of my top games currently of this year. So, I just wish I would have known about it sooner, to be honest, so I can play it more. But with that being said, it's a good game. The Steam reviews are mixed just because people were crying about the launch, which they do have some reason to be upset with that. That's very understandable. And it's not something as, consumers of video games that we have to always expect the game to suck on launch day. I think that's kind of stupid and I just wish that wasn't the case, but like just given with how things just get pushed up in popularity now, like Helldivers was what 150 people at the start of launch, and now it's jumped up super high, and that's just because of people playing it. Like it's just crazy how some publicity, like funny moments, all that from like content creators or just people in general, I think really pushes up the popularity of a game and can actually cause that. But, I wish there was some way to sort of counteract that, but it's really difficult. It's a very difficult thing to actually do because you can't really account for everything, but you also don't want to over account because if you over account, you're sort of in the red for whatever you're spending. So, it's good now. Get it, play it. Multiplayer, unsure, definitely do your research. I strongly suggest you, even if you're listening to this, you should do your own research as well, just to make sure it is something for you. But compared to Diablo 4 to this game is so much more expansive and more enjoyable than Diablo 4, which is twice the value of this game. So, give it a shot, check it out. I mean, get on it, play for like what, an hour and 50 minutes, and then return if you don't like it. But overall, I just think it's a really satisfying game, and you should definitely give it a try. And with that, that ends our first episode. And I hope you'll enjoy me rambling about Last Epoch and just the overall thoughts and reviews on it. And I hope you all have a good day. Bye.